Greetings to my beloved sixth graders, and welcome to our Asia checklist. We're going to do it the old-fashioned way, up on the board, not a PowerPoint, but one by one we'll do them up on this board, just like we do in class. So let's start with, everyone have your practice test out, all right? And we're going to start with the countries and the capitals, all right? So everyone has your practice test out, and you're ready to go. Now the great thing about this is you can pause me in video world. You can't pause me in class. You know how successful that is, you know? So if I am going too fast, well, indeed, you can hit the little space bar and stop me. But here we go for the first one. Number one, all right? Number one is Japan. Michael Greca knows something about this one, and that would be Tokyo. Tokyo. So Japan and Tokyo. Two, if you're going across the Sea of Japan, or as the people of Korea know it, the East Sea, you will come to a very volatile country, North Korea. North Korea. Two words, right? Capitals on both of them, and your capital is Pyongyang. Now, you'll note on oops, there's a G there at the end, Pyongyang. You will note on your atlas that there's a apostrophe here. You can put that there if you want, but you're not required. It's not required that you have the apostrophe there. Okay, up to number three, which is South Korea. South Korea. Now, we know there was a famous war there, and we heard about the demilitarized zone and all these other things fascinating in the South Korea talk. And the capital of South Korea is Seoul. Seoul, South Korea. That's S-E-O-U-L. Seoul. Okay, going on to number four, Taiwan. Taiwan, which capital is Taipei. China considers this, and they someday, mainland China hopes to make this part of China again. They consider it already part of China, although it is an independent country. So Taiwan and Taipei. Number five is the Philippines. I hope I spell it right. Michaela always caught me spelling it incorrectly. But I think I've got it this time. Two P's, the Philippines, right? And that archipelago, like I said, is the only Christian nation in all of Asia. Over 6,000 islands in the Philippines, and the capital there is Manila. Manila. All right, number six is the cat coffee poop country. All right, and that is Singapore. Sarah knows this one pretty well. Singapore, and the capital is Singapore. All right, so you get a freebie there. Singapore, Singapore. Just spell it right, okay? Number seven is a country where the United States fought for a decade or so, practically, to stop the threat of communism taking over all of Southeast Asia. And 50,000 Americans, 55,000 Americans lost their lives in number seven, which is Vietnam. Vietnam. And the capital there is Hanoi. I think there might be another apostrophe there, but again, it's not necessary. All right, so those are our first seven countries. Now we will go on to the next set. All right. All right. Yeah, I just can't keep going across the board, so this will slow me up some. All right. We go on to the next set, and the next set begins with Thailand, number 8. Now, Thailand used to be known as Siam. So if you ever wonder where Siamese cats come from, they come from there. All right, that is the land of Siam, the king of Siam. If you ever saw the musical The King and I, right? It takes place in Siam. He was the king of Siam. And the capital there is Bangkok. Okay, Bangkok. All right, so number 9. Number 9 is China itself. The capital there is Beijing. When I was growing up, it was interesting. When I was growing up, the capital was Peking. That's what they called it. They didn't call it Beijing. All right, but I knew it as Peking when I was growing up. 10 is Mongolia. Now, Mongolia, again, you have options here, right? I grew up with Ulaanbaatar, which is on your checklist. That's this one. Easier to spell, right? And then there is the one in your atlas, which the double A and the double A and the Baatar. Okay, so Ulaanbaatar. But Ulaanbaatar is what I grew up with. That's more of an English version of the Mongolian word. Number 11 is Bangladesh. Now, this is a very interesting country. If you look at number 13 on your map, okay, that is Pakistan. But Bangladesh used to be part of Pakistan. They had a country that was separated by the entire country of India. And this was East Pakistan and that was West Pakistan. But in 1971, they decided that that was just a little too crazy to maintain a country that is separated by such a giant place as India. So they became an independent country called Bangladesh. And the capital there is Dhaka. 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 Okay, that brings us to 12. The second most populous country in the world, soon to be the first in probably a decade, and that is India. And the capital there is New Delhi. New Delhi. Delhi. New Delhi. I hope I spelled that right. Can I have a checker on that?
Okay.
Look at India.
Yes, you did.
Dia. Okay, 13. That's my little helper over on the side there. She's trying to keep up with me. See if she can. And she is. Pakistan is the next country. And that capital is Islamabad. That was the country where the girl who won the Nobel Peace Prize, she was going for school and she was shot because she was a girl trying to get education. And she survived, thank goodness. And she went on to be an advocate for girls getting education all around the world. And she won the Nobel Peace Prize for that. 14 is a country where we've been fighting. We're withdrawing pretty much now, but we've been there for longer than any other place we've ever been in, and that's Afghanistan for war, for the reason of war. Afghanistan. Very volatile country, very difficult to manage. Kabul, all right? Kabul is the capital of Afghanistan. So that is our next 7. Now we're going to go on. So we're up to number 14. I'll try to fit this because we have 22. We should try to get one extra one in here. So I'll start a little higher. 20. So we're on number 15. And number 15 is a giant country, right? Number 15 is Iran. Iran. Again, lots of volatility between the United States and Iran. One of their generals was recently killed in a drone strike by the United States, and so there's a great deal of tension between Iran and the United States right now. The capital there is Tehran. All right. Number 16 is Jack's favorite place, Saudi Arabia. Jack did a wonderful report on that, Saudi Arabia. Capital is Riyadh. Riyadh. So that's R-I-Y-A-D-H, Riyadh. 17 is Iraq. And again, we were there for a decade or so, fighting a war there. The capital there is Baghdad. Baghdad. Famous city of the Middle East. All right, so that is number 17. Number 18 is again, a very sad country, been at war. That is where ISIS made its home. That country is Syria. But the capital of Syria is one of the oldest cities in the world, and that is Damascus. Damascus, Syria. D-A-M-A-S-C-U-S. Number 19 is Turkey. All right, and that is a member of NATO. which is a North American treaty organization. That's a European alliance group. But remember, part of Turkey is in Europe, so they could join that alliance. And the capital of Turkey is Ankara. Ankara. All right. Number 20 is a beautiful country, Lebanon. You've often heard in the Bible that they built the temple out of the cedars of Lebanon, these giant trees. Lebanon was a gorgeous country, especially this city. The capital of Lebanon is Beirut, and it was a beautiful country, a beautiful city. In fact, they called it the Paris of the Middle East, but it's been war-torn, and civil wars been there for several years now, and so it's not nearly what it used to be, but it used to be considered like the city of Paris in the Middle East. And then 21 is Israel. Please spell that right. It's not Israel, it's Israel. Israel. Okay, El in the Hebrew language is another word for God. So I forgot the S there. Israel. Israel is he who contends with God. My name, Michael, is who is like to God. Anything that ends in the EL has a reference to God. Okay, so Israel is the state. This is a very controversial state. You heard about that in the talk on the Middle East. So we'll go on from there. And number 22, last but not least, is Jordan, which is just across the river Jordan, right? Jordan, and the capital there is Amman. Amman. All right, so that's it for the countryside. I'll be right back with the features. Okay, guys, welcome back. We're going to do the features video, and there's a lot of features in Asia, and a lot of these you'll recognize from your very first test on the World Features Map. So many of these features you're already familiar with, so that will be very helpful to you, even though there's 37 features. That's a lot. All right, so we're going to start with number 1, and number 1 is way up there in the north, and it is the White Sea. You can see it up there by the Scandinavian Peninsula, the Kola Peninsula. You remember we learned about that one, okay? 2 is the Barents Sea. The Barents Sea. B-A-R-E-N-T-S, like parents, but with a B. Okay? Not the Parent Sea, but the Barents Sea. Okay, up next is the Kara Sea. Okay, I always remember these by going Barents, Kara, Laptev. I always had that little rhyme in my head, which brings you to the next one, which is the Laptev. So Barents, Kara, Laptev. I always would just say that right in a row. Barents, Kara, Laptev Sea, and then number 5 is the one that doesn't kind of go rhythmically with it, but it's the East Siberian Sea. So Barents, Kara, Laptev, East Siberian. The East Siberian Sea. We're going to have a talk on Siberia, which is a really unique part of Asia. 6, I should say, not 7. Number 6, we go back over here and we see the Ural Mountains. Okay, we know those well, right? Because that is what separates Asia from Europe. Number 7 is the Ob River. Not often misspelled, but hey, it can happen sometimes. O-B. Number 8 is the Yenisei River. The Yenisei. All right. You remember this from our features map. Ob Yenisei Lena. Oil. O-Y-L. And 9 is the Lena. The Lena. The Ob Yenisei Lena. Remember O-Y-L. Oil. And number 10 on your map is the Bering Sea, which separates Alaska and Russia. The Bering Strait does, and the Bering Sea is that area over number 10. And we go all the way back across to number 11, and that is the Caucasus Mountains. That's home of the tallest mountain in Asia, in the Europe, which is the Elbrus, Mount Elbrus, or there's some argument about that, of course. Okay, going on to number 12, we get the Ural River. Okay, that empties into the Caspian Sea. the Ural River. Number 13 is the deepest lake in the world. It contains 20% of the world's unfrozen fresh water, and that is Lake Baikal. You'll see a couple of spellings for that one, but this is one of them. Lake Baikal. 14 is the Amur River. That's what separates the border of China and Russia. The Amur River in the north. Number 15 is the Sea of Okhotsk. Remember, I told you to remember that one. The Sea of Okhotsk. Okhotsk. Okay, Okhotsk. Okay, coming up on number 16 on our features map. We're going all the way back to the western side of Asia, right? We're going to see the two rivers that make up Mesopotamia. Number 16 is the Euphrates. The Euphrates River. And that's where the civilization of Sumer, right, developed. 17 is the Tigris. And those two rivers make up Mesopotamia, which is the land between the rivers. All right. Going to 18 is that big old lake, saltwater lake, the Caspian Sea. Remember, it's completely surrounded by land. That's what makes it a lake. All right. 19 is that very sad lake, the Aral Sea, the one that has lost about 60% of its water since the 1960s. It is really kind of a tragedy what has happened to the Aral Sea. And number 20 is another large desert, not as large as the Sahara, but the Gobi Desert, one of the biggest deserts in Asia. All right. Now we're going to go on to our next set. Okay. There we go. And we're going to get to 21 now. And if we look at 21, if we can find it. Yes, we can find it. That is the Sea of Japan, or if you are of the, you can do the East Sea, which is what they refer to it as in Korea. I think I told you is that Korea will not allow any atlas into its country that has it called the Sea of Japan. All right, so that would be the East Sea. And then we go back all the way across to where Moses crossed, all the way here between Africa and the Arabian Peninsula, and there's the Red Sea, where Moses and the people of Israel crossed on dry land. All right, 23 is the Persian Gulf, a very critical area because most of the world's oil exports come out of that Gulf between Iran and Saudi Arabia. Okay. 24 is the Gulf of Oman. I used to have my son remember that one because he had trouble remembering it. And he would say, oh man, I can remember that. Oh man, I can remember that. And it was Oman. So that's how he'd remember the Gulf of Oman. Okay. 25 going across is the Himalaya Mountains. 25 are the Himalayas. All right, or Himalayas, as they are sometimes pronounced. I grew up with the Himalayas, but you can pronounce it however you wish, Himalayas or the Himalayas. That is the highest mountain range in the world. 26 is the Yellow River, the Huanghe, right? The Yellow River. Okay, which leads us to 27 because as the water empties out into that area, that body of water, it gives it a slight hint of yellow, so it's called the Yellow Sea. That's where the Yellow River empties into. And then we make our journey all the way back across to Africa again, and south of Saudi Arabia, south of Aden as a matter of fact, and that is where we will encounter the Gulf of Aden. The Gulf of Aden. All right. And then we go to 29. And now, remember, this one is easy to remember because it's south of the Arabian Peninsula. And since it is south, number 29 is south of the Arabian Peninsula, it is the Arabian Sea. the Arabian Sea. All right, and that will lead us to our last set over on this side. All right, as I erase this up, we'll get to our last 9, actually. I thought there were 37, but there's actually 38. That will lead us to our last 9. And that will start with number 30. So if we look at number 30, we will see the holiest river to the Hindu people, the Hindu religion. You remember that from our talk on Asia, and that is the Ganges River. The Ganges River. Okay, when we talked about the religions of Asia. All right, there's the Ganges. 31 is the Bay of Bengal. You probably heard of Bengal tigers, right? The Bay of Bengal. All right, number 32, right? Hope you're keeping up with me. Number 32 is the Brahmaputra. The B-R-A-H-M. Oops, let me take care of that one more time. The Brahmaputra. B-R-A-H-M-A-P-U-T-R-A. The Brahmaputra River. And the Ganges and the Brahmaputra both end in the country of Bangladesh, which can be a very flooded country at times. Okay, now 33 is the Irrawaddy. Now you have a very different spelling in your atlas than in your checklist. The Irrawaddy, I think that's 2 D's. I hope I'm right. It's spelled differently in your atlas. If I'm not, you guys can make the correction if you look at your checklist. I don't have the checklist in front of me. The Irrawaddy River, okay? So, it's spelled differently in there. It's spelled differently in that. All right, so number 34. All right, number 34 is the Mekong River. The Mekong River, and that ends in Vietnam. And the delta of that river, where that river ends, is one of the greatest rice growing areas in all of the world, in the Mekong River Delta. All right, 35. Now look at where 35 is. It is south of China. So this is the South China Sea. The South China Sea. All right, 36 is the Yangtze River. The Yangtze River. Okay, the Yangtze River. All right, 37 is the East China Sea, because that is east of China. East of China. And 38 is the tallest mountain in the world. We got to go back over to the Himalayas, and that is Mount Everest. That is the last. Well, we're going to do the one for Australia too, but the highest peak in Australia, but it's not very tall. This is Mount Everest, and that is the tallest mountain in the world. That takes us to the end of our features, and hopefully you kept up with me. Remember, you can always pause me. Double check my spelling on Irrawaddy. I think I could be wrong. And we will see you hopefully soon.